Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. How are you all? So for today's video I decided to do something more informative than what I usually do. So this is a makeup tutorial, no doubt. Yes, this is the makeup tutorial. I did this particular eye makeup in this video, but along with being a makeup tutorial, this is something more on the, I can say, technical side than what we usually do. A few videos back somebody actually requested me to make a video on using brushes. What kind of brushes okay, what kind of brushes my god, why is it so difficult? What kind of brushes should be used for what kind of eye makeup? So I thought this is actually a good idea and I should try a video for this one too, because it can be helpful to many out there. So yes, I bought this video. I did this entire look with all these brushes, and I'm actually going to explain you what I really did. Now, before jumping into the video, let me say this one thing. This is actually a disclaimer. I'm not a professional. I have not learned anything professionally. So, I don't know literally professionally that which brush should be used for which technique and all that stuff, right? So whatever I have learned is through my experience, is through what I have seen people doing, what I have seen other YouTubers doing, makeup artists doing. So this is what I have perceived, and I have got all by myself. And this is also something I got from my experience, something I have learned over the time I have been doing makeup. Maybe for you, some of these brushes might work brilliantly like they work for me, but this is something that also depends upon your eye shape and eye size. So this is something that actually depends on your face, your face structure, your eye structure. So all I would say is, don't just feel like, okay, this person has said this thing about makeup, so this is what it is. Makeup is something that can change depending on people. Per person it changes. It's more about what you know about your body. So this is like something I am telling you in a very general thing. And yeah, before I start the video, let me tell you this stuff about my brushes. Before really getting into, let me generalize that entire thing. So you can see these are two brushes. These are extremely different brushes, and these are what I got from Flipkart. Now I'll be putting the description for these particular brushes in the description box, and everything else in the description box, so yeah, do see that too. So this particular brush set was actually a brush set of 10 brushes that I got from Flipkart, and they costed approximately 400 rupees for 10 brushes. So this is the whole set that comes with so many brushes. They have big brushes, they have fluffier brushes. So these are more on the bigger brush kind of side. Then I have these brushes. So this particular brush is something I got with a gel liner, and this particular brush is something I got with the eyeshadow, that Nude palette that I got from Cubs and Lashes. This is the same brush that I got from there. So there are many other brushes that I have that are actually from some other palette and something like that. So whenever I get a brush with some palette or something, I always keep them because they do come in hand, right? They're very handy, they can be used, so do keep them too. Then there was another brush set. This one belongs to that, and I have another one with this. Yes, so this is another brush set. This was like a set of 5 brushes I got like many years ago, and this is from Adon. So this is the eyeshadow one, and this is the lip filler one, but I use everything for eyeshadow. I don't use brushes other than eyeshadows and base makeup. So this is another set. And then the last set is this is from Babila, and I got this recently, again a set of 5, and these are different detailed kind of brushes. So this one is again the lip filler brush. I don't know why they call it lip filler brush, but they rather work for eyeshadows. And this one is another eyeshadow brush. So I use these brushes. Let me tell you this one science when it comes to brushes. If your brush is very densely packed, it is going to put a lot of color. If your brush is fluffier, it is actually going to disperse the color. So when you have to put the color very boldly, when you want the color to come out really like there, you have to use stiff brushes. These kind of brushes are extremely good when you have to work on your lid. You know, this particular shimmer shades on your cut crease, these are extremely good because they pack a lot of color. When you know you have to put the color but you don't want the color to be very block and very in there, these kind of brushes come in handy because they are fluffy, they disperse the color, and they make it look like really blended. I'll go in the order I have been using with my eyeshadows, so I think we should start with that. Starting up first is this brush. This is the brush, and this is from Adorn. This is the eyeshadow brush, but I rather like using it as my transition brush, you know, into the gap. You know, the first coat of my eyeshadow actually goes with this brush. The reason why I use this as a transition brush is because this brush is extremely fluffy, and you know, it blends the stuff very easily. So you don't need to buy the same brush. It's just that just take a look of how this brush is. You know, this is like a very mildly packed, you know, it's a fluffy brush which is actually a little, you know, you can say it's not like a broad one, it's really thin, and that is why it can work into your crevices, you know, the crevices of your lid and all that stuff. So this is something you should be using as your transition brush that puts the color in there and also helps you in blending. And you know, I have been using this brush for so long now, and this is literally my favorite brush that I absolutely love for the transition and stuff. And coming to the another brush, this is a brush. Now see this shape of this particular brush. If you can see, it is actually, you know, it is dome shaped. Can you see it has this particular angle over here? This is actually a dome kind of thing. So this particular brush is extremely handy when you have to work in the crease, you know, this particular area of the crease, and it can go inside the nooks and crevices of your crease, and at the same time it can work on your, you know, the outer corner of your crease. And this comes extremely handy because it has this particular very, you know, very small area that can go into your eye. So when you are working on your crease, I would recommend these type of brushes that are actually angled. These angular brushes actually work really good when you have to work on very precise areas, and this one, because it's big, it's better to be used on your, you know, outer corner of your lid. So this is this particular brush, and you know, I extremely love this particular brush. If you have been seeing my channel, you know I use this for my outer corner. So yes, this is another favorite brush of mine. The third brush that I used is this particular brush, and if you can see, can you see the angle of this particular brush? It is actually tilted like this. So the reason why I use this kind of tilted brush is because when you put it against a surface, it actually covers the whole surface. Can you see? This is my hand, right? And this is the brush, and it actually covers the whole surface. Now, if you use a straight brush, you have to use it in this particular angle, which is actually difficult to work when it comes to your eyes. But when you have this kind of brush, you actually don't have to work like this. You have to work like this, and it gets easier for you to blend. So it gets easier for you to actually blend that entire thing. I use this as, you know, something to blow out the entire thing, you know, so that everything looks like it is actually coming from the eye and does not look like, yes, this is the color. It should look like very blended, and this is the one I extremely love when it comes to blending the stuff. Now, depending on your eye size, this might be bigger for you, this might work for you. You can actually try something that is a little less bigger than this, a smaller one. So depending on your eye type, you can definitely shuffle with this one, but I would highly recommend something that has this kind of angle so that you can work perfectly with your eye. Is this. If you can see, this brush again has this kind of angle, this dome kind of angle. We have the very detailed look. Can you see? This is so thin, and it is actually something I use for my concealer because this is not a fluffier brush. This is a very densely packed brush, and it cannot be used for your eyeshadows and stuff because it's very stiff. Can you see? It's very stiff. So this is something I use for my concealer. Whenever I want to put the do a cut crease and put the concealer on my lid, I use this one. Even when I have to you know, sharpen up my eyebrow, I use this one because it is extremely, can you see how, you know, the detailed one it is? So that is why it can be used in the very, you know, the sharp edges of your eyes. Now another one that I extremely love to put on the sharp edges of my eye is this particular brush. Again, it has this kind of shape to it, so it works really good in this particular angle or even this particular angle. When you work like this, you don't have to put like 90-degree. You can actually put it in any angle, as according to your, I would say, what works for you. So this is another one, and if you can see, again, this is very minute, this is very precise, and it works so good when it comes to working on the very minute details of your eyes, when you have to work in this particular corner, because this particular area has a very little space, and when you have to work in this area, these type of stuff, they are really good. And if you remember the video I did on Halloween, the glam Halloween makeup, I did this golden eyeliner, I did with this one, because this is very precise and works really good when it comes to precision. Another brush that I use all the time is this kind of brush, which is a little smaller. This is actually smaller than any other brush, but it is fluffy. So it is like a fluffier brush, and this type of brush comes in handy when you have to work on this particular corner of your eye, or you have to work in this particular corner of your eye. So this is the type of brush you should be using when you want to work in very small area, but you actually want to disperse the color. If you can see this particular inner corner, all this blue color I did with this particular brush. Now there is another similar brush, if you can see, these brushes are almost similar. The only difference is this one was the fluffier one and this is the stiff one. So again, this was the fluffier one, so it disperses the color, but because this is the stiff one, it is actually going to put the color there. Now this is the brush you use when you have to highlight your inner corner and you have to highlight your brow bone, because you have to put the color there. So this type of brush comes extremely handy. Can you see, it is very stiff. It's like you work in hair and it's stiff. It does not disperses the color. So when you have to work in a very small area and you have to put the color in there, especially in the inner corner and on the brow bone, this is the brush you should be using. Now for this particular video, I did not highlight my brow bone or the inner corners. I did that off camera because that particular palette did not have that color. Okay, so let us start with the makeup tutorial, and I'll be using the Huda Beauty Electric Obsessions palette, and I'll be taking the pink color on my number 1 transition brush and putting it on the crease, trying to buff it everywhere. Then I'll be taking this dark blue color and I'll be putting it on the crease using my number 2 crease brush. We have to make sure we only put it on the 1/3 corner of the eye. Then taking back the transition brush with the pink color, I'm going to buff the colors together. We need to blend them together so they look seamless. Now taking the fluffier brush, and we are going to blow everything out into the lid so that it looks very seamless. Then moving into the crease brush again, and we are going to darken the blue color. Now taking a concealer brush, using my Essence concealer, we are going to cut the crease. I'll be using 2 brush for this, number 4 brush and number 5 brush. The 5 brush is precise one. Now taking a blue shimmer shade to put it on the 1/3 of the eye, and using our fingers because it is another important tool. Then moving into the lightest blue color and putting it using the number 5 brush on the remaining lid. Now taking the number 6 brush and using the lightest blue shade, I'm going to put it in the inner corner. Then we are going to smudge the lower lash line using the brush I completely forgot. We'll move into the shimmer blue color. Then finally we are going to buff the remaining eye using the lightest blue color. So yes guys, that's it for today's video. If you liked this video, if you found this video was really informative, please hit the like button, because you know what, I'm really working my ass off these days. Please do hit the like button right now and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. And I'll meet you in the next video. Bye bye.